Welcome to the High Performance Man podcast. I am your host, John Fayocavitz. On this show, I interview successful men who have built impressive careers in businesses, founders, CEOs, and senior leaders, and professionals who have operated at a high level for years. We talk about what actually made them successful. The goal is simple: to learn directly from the men who have done it so we can apply those insights into our own careers, businesses, and lives and continue raising our own standard of performance. The show is sponsored by the Prime Performance Method. The Prime Performance Method is designed specifically for high performing men who have achieved success in their careers but feel like their body and energy have taken a hit along the way. We help busy professional men regain strength, help them lose weight, or feel younger without long workouts, extreme dieting, or disrupting their demanding schedule. So if you're a high performing man who wants to feel strong and energized as you are successful, message me, John Fayocavitz, on LinkedIn. On today's show, we have Bruce Carnohan, who is the owner of Process Cleanup, where he helps entrepreneurs, creators, writers, and high-performing leaders with flawless process. Thank you, Bruce, so much for coming on today.
You're welcome. Nice to be introduced in such a fluent way, John. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Well, and I got to tell you, you're probably like my furthest guest.
Well, I like to be first in many things. I have been ever since I was kind of 11 years old. So, I don't mind being first.
That's awesome. Okay. My first question, Bruce, is what's the most important lesson you've learned so far that has helped you become successful in your business?
Oh, wow. That is a big question. I
Now, it
would,
doesn't have to be just one. You could just give us an overview.
sure. Yeah. So I would say that if I look at repeatability, which is what is our markers for success, some people may or may not know that. But what I found is it's a combination of, you have to start with good strategy. And strategy can be small, it can be big, but you need to start with good strategy. Or if you don't like the word strategy, you need to have a really good story and really understand what it is you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it and the direction you're going to go in. And then to support that strategy, you have to have like a playbook, or some people call it a good tactical plan, a set of work ethics. It doesn't really matter what you call it, but you've got to have those kind of micro steps that then turn your vision or your strategy or your story or your why into what are the steps I need to take. In other words, what is the work I need to do to move step by step towards the direction that I want to go in. So that's kind of strategy tactics. That's the two
Okay.
levels that I would always say are really important.
And they all lead to what you mentioned in the first part is repeatability.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have that good strategy and you have what you say a good story, which it seems to be the thing today is what everybody goes with, is you got to have a story of some sort. And do you think that that story is a believability?
Well, I think also, yeah, I agree with you, John. I think story can be misled or misunderstood. Other people might call it, what are you really passionate about? And, I became passionate about wanting to have things in order because I came from a pretty cluttered, hectic background in my life. So I was striving to put things in order. And that's how I got good at, making processes to be in order. So hence, process cleanup. I like to clean up complicated processes and make them as simple as possible. And so my method is simpler, faster, better. So it all ties together when you tie together, what are you passionate about, right? What
Right.
motivates you when you least want to do something, right? And I love driving for simplicity, and I love to be able to show people that in this world of complexity, you can simplify things, and that's what makes me jive. I love that. I love the outcome of turning complexity into simplicity.
That's
So that's my
awesome.
passion.
That's good. Now, question, just curious. Do you think if you are doing something that you're good at, do you think
Yeah.
that is that passion, or do you think they're two separate things, or can be?
You know, I think they can be parallel, right? I think if you're really passionate about something, but you don't like doing it, you're still gonna do it, I think. I think if you're passionate, but you also love what you do, you're gonna do it really, really well. And you're
Exactly.
also right, and you're also gonna persist when things get tough. And you can be passionate about something you don't like, and you're gonna tend to shy away from that instead of hanging in there and staying with it. So liking
Right.
what you do and being passionate, they kind of they're parallel paths for me,
Right. And it's like getting out of bed is not a job. Okay. Because
Right.
you know, I mean, every day you enjoy it. Okay.
Yep, for
So
sure.
how many years have you had your business?
So in different formats, it really goes back to my first solo entrepreneurship was really back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And I have morphed in and out of being an employee, a corporate guy, to being an independent, to being what some people might call a consultant. So I ping pong between corporate and being self-driven or self solopreneur, whichever you
Right.
want to call it. So really, in round terms, it's around 21 years. So enough
So,
time to know what I like and what I don't like. So yeah,
so you started the business back in the early 2000s by that you were a solo entrepreneur, right? And then
for sure.
you went back into some corporate work.
I did, yeah. So, like many people in the USA, I was doing pretty good in the 2008, 2009 arena. And then the huge financial crash happened. For those people that are a little bit more mature in their careers, I think we all remember that. It was a brutal period of time. And I went through, a thriving business to losing all my customers in less than 4 weeks. So I hung in there for several years and couldn't hang in there anymore. So I basically started over. And, some people might say, well, was that the right thing to do? I don't think it was the wrong thing to do. I just had
No.
to, admit that I needed to start over. And when you do that, you get more perspective about what it is that's really important for you. So starting over wasn't easy. But I did it, and I think I was better as a result of it for sure.
Awesome. Awesome job. Okay. My next question, Bruce. What do you think hinders a lot of men today from reaching their full potential?
Uh, that is a extraordinarily deep and wide question.
Yep.
I
That's
I
why I'm
would
here.
yeah, I would say I don't know if it's men or men and lady leaders. There's a lot of distractions out there. There's a lot of, if you like, commands or competition for our time.
Yep.
And so I would say that the real thing is really staying true to what you know is important and what you think is important and trying to do the right things the best way you can and the important things every day and not let all the distractions. And I don't mean, some of them are healthy distractions, some of them are not so healthy.
Right.
Um, so I would say, staying true to what you believe in and really working away at it every day. And if you do need to be distracted, so my little secret is I love to walk. Not
Mm-hmm.
not because I really love to walk as such. Number one, it's healthy, but number two, what I find is when I walk, I can let my mind kind of decompress, or I call it defragging. Our minds are very much like computers; they're complicated. there's a lot of things going on, multi-processing all at the same time. And if we don't let our minds kind of take a relaxation, and for me, that's walking. So
Right.
when I walk, I that's when I get a lot of my better strategic ideas. I also find, it is healthy, and I'm proud to, where I am right now, I'm walking 3 times the amount I was when I was in the USA. So that to me is it's that healthy, not getting distracted away from what's important to us, right? So
Right. Right. And I'm looking at, the way we are today, culturally and society and everything else. It's that what you were mentioning, that I think it's that outside noise.
yes, for
I
sure.
mean, every time you go on something, someone's trying to do something to sway you.
Right.
Okay. My way is better. Okay.
Mhm.
Those type of things and if we can just not, like you said, know what you're doing, know what you're passionate about, stay the course,
Right.
and don't let anybody sway you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And new information is great. You just take it in measured bites, and make sure that it's still right for you.
Right.
There are massive opportunities out there to do the same thing in multiple different ways, and people do the same thing in multiple different ways, and but find what works for you. And it doesn't mean that you can't adjust along the way as circumstances change.
Exactly.
You have to. um but just be very mindful that your time is the most precious time that you have.
Right.
And you've got to be, some people say, well, Bruce, sometimes you're selfish. And yes, I am selfish, but I'm selfish for the right reasons, so that I can do what I can do the best way I can, and then I can give time back to other people. You know,
Right.
if I'm not healthy, I can't give a healthy service to other people. And so, yeah,
Right.
I'm selfish that way for sure.
Well, which leads us right into our next question. It's like you knew what I was going to ask us. Okay. For most men on the road to business or professional success, other areas of their life get sacrificed.
Yeah.
What's been one of the areas of your life that has suffered? Okay, if anything, but where would you like to be successful now too? Is there somewhere that you're looking to get successful?
Yeah. So, for me, fortunately or unfortunately, depends how you look at it. Sometimes I have let the relationships with my immediate family go astray. But having said that, my immediate family kind of know the way I am, and I've always been a traveler. I've always followed opportunity instead of waiting for opportunity to try and follow me. And
Right,
so, there is a sacrifice there. But again, some family members understand it, some family members don't. And unfortunately, the ones that don't, they probably are never going to understand it because they're not the
right,
same as me.
right,
But the ones that are, supportive and collaborative, and they kind of get who I am. And so I would say that's really the trade-off. If I had to do it over, would I do it any differently? Probably slightly. I would spend a little bit more time with my immediate family than I did in the past. So yeah,
okay, all
to be
right,
brutally
great.
honest.
No, that's what we're here. I want to get your honesty. I want to get your insights, your opinion, and everything. This is why I do this podcast.
Right.
So is there somewhere else that you would like to be successful now? Is there an area? Is there something you're looking for that you want to do?
Actually, I'm part of the reasons I'm in the Philippines, which is, on a completely different time zone, is, I'm re-exploring, re-engineering, or reimagining the things that I'd be doing online. So I will actually be taking myself like back to school under my own pace, doing weekly workshops, and it's learning to use some technology that I've had for a while but haven't really deployed it properly. I found that when I was doing what I was doing in the US, there were too many distractions that stopped me from doing that. So I'm going to take this opportunity as I've stepped away for a few months into a different continent, into a different type of lifestyle, to take myself back to school, self-education, and really help deploy this technology that's very powerful to help other people, in the future as well. So
Wow.
yeah,
I'll
very,
tell you,
very timely question for sure.
yeah, you could, doing what you're doing, you are a risk taker.
I
Okay.
wouldn't
Because
say I wouldn't say a extreme risk taker. I would say
moving to another continent, I mean,
well, but I've done it before, you see. So again, it's
okay.
all relative to where you start from, right? So,
Okay. I didn't know
in my
you.
late 30s, I moved from the UK to the USA with two suitcases, and that was
Okay.
it. The rest of my
Well, see,
stuff.
I didn't know the backstory. See that?
Right. Yeah. So again, it's relative to people's backstory, and it's relative to, what you might see as risk. Because
Right.
I've done it before, and I've worked internationally as well before. To me, it wasn't such a big risk because I guess I had a little bit of practice.
Right.
So yeah.
Well,
But to
awesome.
others, it might be an extreme risk. So
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I didn't know that you moved to different places that you were before.
right,
And so it's not, yeah. If I picked up and you just went to the Philippines and start, I mean, that's got some.
right.
So,
Well, and again, it's all relative to your thinking process, right? Some people might say I'm starting over, but actually, I'm in a location I visited many, many times before, and I have a little core group of friends. In fact, I went out to dinner with one of them earlier this evening, so I'm not alone. I'm actually just re-exploring in a different way. Um, in a different environment. And to me, that also helps with our creativity. Sometimes we get stuck in the same environment and we can't kind of think of new things because we're stuck in that environment. So to me, the moving the environment is making me move my thinking process to be more open to be doing new things, and that's what I want to do. So
wow, that's great. I mean, that my audience is gonna eat this up. Okay. I mean,
good.
this is really, really good, Bruce. Okay. Now you might have answered my next question, and I think you already did, but maybe you have some other areas. But where do you find peace? Is it the walking?
Actually, I love taking pictures of sunsets, and there was a glorious sunset on Boracay Beach this evening. So yeah, I was in my flip-flops, not to make people jealous or envious, but I was walking towards the restaurant with my girlfriend as well. And as the sun was setting, it was a vivid, vivid, and I'm happy to send you the picture after if you wanted to use it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just looking out, and the ocean was really calm this evening for whatever reason. So yeah, took a
That's
glorious
awesome.
snapshot of a glorious sunset, and
Are
that
you a
helps.
photographer too, or you just took it up as a hobby?
I use I have an iPhone, and I just take pictures and do some of the editing tools, and I I just capture moments. I wouldn't say I'm a photographer. I try and capture my emotions as I see things. I'm pretty observant, so that
That's
helps me.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome, Bruce. All right. I'll ask one. If you were to give one piece of advice to other men that are starting out, okay,
Mhm.
on their journey to achieving success, what would that be?
Yeah, so we've sort of touched upon a lot of the topics that really make that happen, I believe.
Hmm.
I think you've got to get really honest and raw and serious about, and really know what is it you're really good at, what value do you really bring? And I know those are jargon words, but people know the kind of special energy or the special juice that they bring to something, and pick something that you like, because we talked about that as well.
Absolutely.
Um, and set up a system that allows you to keep working on that thing or those set of things every day. And I don't mean 12 hours a day every day. I mean, just do something. And it can be little 1 minute things, but keep them focused on that long term plan or that long
Right.
term vision, story, strategy, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter, but know where you want to go and keep chipping away at getting there. And
Right.
I think the other thing is don't be afraid to not quit, but or not give up, but admit that maybe things are not going so well and ask for advice. So, men
Help.
can be pretty headstrong and they can be pretty,
Yeah.
pretty prideful.
Yep.
Um, and sometimes it's hard to admit that maybe you're going in the wrong direction or that you should be asking for advice a little bit earlier. So, be sure to step back and make sure that you are doing what you really want to do and in the way
Right.
that you want to do it. So, and
Exactly.
if you're not, readjust,
Right.
don't be afraid
Yep.
to readjust.
Do you provide systems for people?
I do.
Okay,
So,
because that's what I think the biggest part. Okay, I might have a passion for something, or somebody might have a passion, and like you said, the next thing is to put good systems. Okay, and I think a lot of the people that are starting out don't have a clue, and that's where we come with the help. You got to reach
absolutely.
out.
Yeah. And, experience is one of those things that is priceless, right? So I've made way more mistakes than I've made successes. Um, and what you take to that piece of the puzzle, as it were, is those mistakes can also be really good lessons learned. So I'm a big proponent of always trying to do lessons learned.
Yeah.
And that's part of a structure. You have to have a system that works for you. You have to have a way of knowing that you're working your system and measuring your own system, and sometimes your
Right.
own system isn't that hot. And
Right.
so you got to not be too prideful or not be too stubborn, and be
Right.
willing to step back and adjust along the way. So, but yeah, a
Which,
framework is really important for sure.
yep. Awesome. Bruce, well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on and sharing your story and your insights with us. I know my audience is going to love this, okay, because
Thank you.
there are some things in there that we haven't discussed with other people, okay?
Okay,
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
so I want to thank you so much. And as a
Yeah.
reminder for everyone listening, where this show is brought to you by the Prime Performance Method, where I help high performing men rebuild their strength, energy, and confidence without sacrificing their careers. So if you're ready to feel strong in your body as you are successful in your business, message me at John Fayocavitz on LinkedIn. Until our next episode, perform strong in all areas of your life.